Welcome to Market Recap Live. I am your host, Joseph Martin, and thank God it's Thursday. Okay, thank God it's Thursday. I got most of this stuff set up on time tonight, so we're going to get right into it. Tonight, we are taking a look at ticker STZ. You might know them better as Constellation Brands. Constellation Brands Incorporated was founded in 1945 by Marvin Sands, with the first office opening in Canandaigua, New York. Canandaigua. I looked at the pronunciation, still got it all crazy. But anyway, now they are a $28 billion publicly traded company in the distillers and vintners industry inside the consumer's discretionary sector. And they are listed in the S&P 500 index. Some of Constellation Brands' competitors are Molson Coors Beverage, Boston Beer, and Brown-Forman. We're going to review Constellation Brands' earnings, their website, and visit the charts to perform a quick technical analysis. But before we do that, let's do our roll call and check the stream poll. We are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Let's get this chat going and tell us where you're tuning in from. Put a YT in the chat if you're tuning in from YouTube, and put an FB in the chat if you are tuning in from Facebook. While you guys are filling up the stream and the chat, here's the mission statement. We are building a community over here for people who want to take control of their financial situation by learning how to unlock the wealth building power of the stock market. And we are streaming Monday through Friday following trading sessions at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The U.S. stock market regular trading hours are 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And there's a link for the New York Stock Exchange calendar down in the description. Okay, let's get to these earnings. Constellation Brands, ticker symbol STZ, the $30 billion company, reported its fourth quarter fiscal 2026 earnings on April 8, 2026. They have a 52-week high of $196.91, which took place on May 16th, and a 52-week low of $126.45 that occurred November 11th. Now, I want to fact check this right now. Part of getting this together, we're going to go to Yahoo Finance and get the actual billions, okay? Because I believe it's 20, it's a specific number, and I rounded it off, and I want to be specific in these earnings. So I'm going to look for this right now. I believe it's 28 point something. STZ. We're going to get this right now. I'm not going to do that. Right there. There's the market cap, 28.38 billion, okay? That's what we're looking at. I said 30 at the beginning, so we fixed that. And a 52-week low of $126.45 that occurred November 11th, which is a trading range of $70.46. And they closed today at $163.07. Constellation Brands earnings report beat on the top line and beat on the bottom line as strong demand for its beer portfolio, led by Modelo Especial, drove volume growth. They reported revenue of $1.92 billion, which was higher than the market expectations of $1.84 billion. EPS was higher than the analysts and market expectations of $1.74 when they reported an adjusted EPS of $1.90. Constellation Brands reported a GAAP net income of $225 million, which was higher. This is wrong again. Boy, listen. This was lower. Listen, guys, I had a few errors in this earnings report. I fixed the minor errors, turned around, gave it to AI for it to fact check it, and it messed me all up, okay? So I'm not going to sit up here and give you the wrong numbers. I'm not going to do that. I know they're not right based off what I done caught so far. And I don't have time to try to fix this in real time on the stream tonight. I'm already here, so we just gonna move on and go to the next step, okay? Let's go to the next step because that didn't work out right. I'm not gonna go through this, and I know that these numbers aren't right. I might have to do this again tomorrow. We might have to do this whole earnings report for this one tomorrow. Just come back to it. Let's just come back to it tomorrow. Now I gotta skip through on the prompter. Where we going? Okay, let's go. All right, let's talk about why we visit these companies' websites. We can go back to this screen right here. Let's talk about the benefits of visiting these sites. We browse companies' websites and read descriptions with the goal of quickly finding answers to these three questions. What does the company do? What goods and or services do they sell? And how important are those goods and or services to their customers? To find those answers, we browse 4 areas on the company's website: the homepage for goods and or services, the About Us section for company vision and mission, careers, employee benefits and opportunities, and investor relations for the SEC filings and the stock quotes. And for your convenience, all companies featured in tonight's stream are down in the description. Now let's go back to Constellation Brands website. Let's go to their website. Here we go. Blow this up, full screen. I'm gonna have to do a uncut at the Tonight Show, because this is another one of them ones where I didn't just bomb and now I can't get it out of my head. This is gonna be one for the record books right here to push through this catastrophe. But we gonna do it. And I didn't expect to talk about this much liquor today, because we got a lot of liquor going on today with this. So they sell alcoholic beverages. And I didn't know that Corona and Modelo was from the same company, it seems. Let's zoom in. And there's our 150. So just in case you're looking at your phone. So I'm just browsing the website. If you want to look deeper at this, the links are down in the description for your convenience. So we're going to look at About Us. I'm seeing our story and brands. So let's just go to our story, because I don't see About Us. Ideas worth reaching for. They got the limes back there and everything. Your lemon and your limes, backdoor barbecues. Got the Corona and Modelo popping off. And I believe it's in Mexico. They're both, it's mentioned right here. So you can read this in detail on your time. Here's the vision statement and the mission statement. So it is under where we clicked. And here's the values. We push boundaries with a passion that allows us to provide more for our consumers, shareholders, employees, and the communities where we live and work. I'm not going to read all of them, but you know where to find them at. You know where to find those things at on their website. So now we can go to their brands, which I'm not sure if they cover everything on the main homepage, but here are their different brands. So we can see those. Now we can go to careers. Let's see if they mention anything about, I like this. I see responsibility. Our vision is, I don't know if this is just talking about the environment. I thought that they was going to mention something about like drinking responsibly. That's what I was looking for on here. Or some type of resources if you had a drinking problem or things like that. That's what I thought responsibility meant. It looks like they talking about something more with the environment. But you can click on it, read deeper into it. It might be something there that I'm missing. Inclusive culture. I've seen a lot of these websites where we're looking at where they're offering internships. It does say paid opportunities though. So that means that all internships doesn't necessarily mean you won't be paid. So that's good. But I don't see anything about the actual benefits, like the incentives. And it could be something where they don't have it on their website. Some companies have it, some companies don't. But that's something that I look for, that I'm interested in, to help boost the morale of the employees at a company. So let's go ahead. We looked at, this is the careers, right? Yep. So let's just go to investors. We can go ahead and wrap up the website by finding the stock quote. Now, the earnings information that I bombed on at the beginning of the live stream, right here on their website, here's the earnings release information right here at the top. Fiscal year 2026. Did they zoom me out? Because it might be hard for you to see it. Give me a second. I got you guys. I know I mess up from time to time. I'm human, all right? But I got you. I'm gonna point you in the direction for you to look it up yourself, since I wasn't able to tell you. Here is the earnings information. This should be the most recent. Fiscal year 2026. That's when it ended. I'm looking for the actual date. This is the stock quote for today. It doesn't say the quarter. It just says the fiscal year. But this should be the most recent earnings information right here at the top. News and events, overview, financial information. Let's go to stock data. Stock data. I like saying data. Stock data. I'm browsing at the news. Here it is right here. Here's some more stuff. Constellation Brand reports full fiscal year and fourth quarter 2026 financial results. So here's the earnings, some more earnings information right up in here. Okay. So what did I just say? Stock data. And they do pay dividends. So we're going to click on this. Here's the chart that they offer on their website. Here's the stock quote information, the dividend information, and the share information. I don't see any tools that they offer. And here's the SEC filings, annual reports, quarterly reports, and things like that. Okay, now let's go over here to our disclaimer for this right here. Let's go back here. So before we look at the charts, remember, professionals trade from a computer, not a mobile device. Mobile trading apps are limited. Traders lose critical detail and advanced platform features on a mobile screen. So be advised, trading from a phone is usually the least effective way for managing assets. To see every detail, use a full trading platform and watch these streams on a computer or TV. Only use your phone as a last resort. Now let's look at the charts for STZ. Let's look at them. Let's look at the charts. I already have them pulled up. But just in case you don't know how to use this platform, the symbol box right here is where we type that in at. And we are looking at a 1 year daily chart, and the most recent of the 52-week lows and highs is the low. So that 52-week low took place on November 11th, so I believe that was right in the earnings at the beginning of the show. So we're looking at a recovery. It's uptrending versus downtrending. So the stock is recovering from that 52-week low. So I'm going to just put a line at the bottom of the 52-week low to highlight where that is. Support and resistance, I'm going to say there's going to be a zone here. So let me draw this support and resistance zone. I'm going to drag this over. Use this tool. I showed you guys this tool yesterday. I'm going to show you again. So you go to the time axis. There's too much space over to the right of the screen. So I'm going to put in 20, and it's going to stretch the candles out to the right. So that's the tool about how you do that. Then I'm going to open up this rectangle tool. And I'm going to say this zone here. Now, this is going to be kind of a wide zone, but it touches a few of the candles. So I'm seeing this as a support and resistance zone, what I just put on the chart for Constellation Brands. So in September, it broke down through this support. It tested it here. It tested it here. And this is the recovery from that 52-week low. And then it finally broke through it. And it started trading above the 200-day simple moving average. Came back down to that support resistance zone. And it's been riding it for a while. And then today on, the earnings was actually yesterday. So today, following earnings, and what was weird about this one compared to the other companies that we look at as well, the earnings call was today, the conference call. following the earnings. So I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. If I zoom in, that is crazy. That's too far. Let me zoom in. So when I mouse over this at the bottom, this is when they reported earnings. So the date is at the bottom. Is that ticker covering it? It's very small, guys. It says April 8th. I'm gonna take the ticker off for a minute so you can see it. See if that helps. So when I mouse over that day, see where it says 4/8? So April 8th, but then today was when they did the conference call. So if I click on it, it'll tell you. So the earnings conference call was today at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, but they released earnings after the market closed at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They did it on different days, which is weird to me because this is my first time actually noticing that. But that's what they did. And we didn't read a description. I gave you an intro on it, so we usually don't do that. So I'm gonna skip over that. We're not gonna do that. But as far as the stock price right now, technical analysis wise, it's trading above the 200-day simple moving average and the 9 simple day moving average, and it's recovering pretty well from that 52-week low they had in November. That's what I'm seeing. So let's talk about the stock price today. So I'm gonna cut my floating data box back on, and I'm gonna give you that information right now. And this will be accurate, unlike what happened at the beginning of the show. So STZ opened at $150.99. They had a high of $163.23. They had a low of $150.25. They closed today at $163.07 and had a trading range of $12.98. And when we look at the trading volume, they traded roughly 4.7, I'm rounding up, 4.7 million shares of this stock today. And when we look at the average volume that this stock usually trades, if I take me off the screen, I can show you on the label. The average volume is usually 2.4 million shares traded in a session. And today was in the 96% percentile. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 10 days had higher volume than today. So it significantly had volume pushing this stock price up today. This is extremely bullish candle on those earnings. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean the earnings were good or bad, which we talked about in the last video. Sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes bad. It doesn't necessarily, goes up or goes down, even though the earnings could be positive. Somebody might assume, well, since it's positive, it gotta go up. That's not the case all the time. They can have positive earnings, beat on the top line and the bottom line, and the stock tank, which we talked about yesterday. All right, so we did some technical analysis on STZ, Constellation Brands, and I want to actually read the description. We're going to go to Yahoo. No, we looked at the website and looked at their values and all of that. We don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. So let's go back here. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. I'm moving my prompter, guys. Just work with me. I'm going to talk to you so you ain't just sitting there like, what is he talking about? Back to the community. I would appreciate it very much if you guys share the stream, hit the like button, subscribe. And if you wish to send a monetary gift to support the content, Cash App and PayPal links are down in the description and on the ticker I just placed on the screen. Okay, now let's look at what the S&P 500 index did today by using the SPY ETF. This ETF gives investors an opportunity to participate in the S&P 500 index by tracking its performance. So let's go back to the charts. Now we still have STZ pulled up. Go right here. I'm going to type in SPY. Ooh, the SPY is still trading above that range we put on the chart. It's holding steady against above that support resistance zone we drew a while ago. That looks good. That looks good. It did not fall back in this zone. And we thought we got one more trading day left. Tomorrow's Friday. Okay. So the stock, so this ETF, the SPY, is still trading above the 9 simple day moving average and the 200-day simple moving average, and it's still staying above this support resistance zone, which is acting as support now since the price action is above it today. It looks like the volume, I'm glancing at it, but I can definitely tell that it dropped off. Even though higher than it did yesterday, what just happened? I saw something move funny. Volume is declining. Volume has declined, and I'm gonna show you that on the label. So at a quick glance, I can see it right here. I can tell by these shadows, this is the volume. Even though I can't see what the volume number is, I can see that this one is taller than this one. So I know that yesterday's volume was higher than today. So the average volume for the SPY is 78 million. The previous volume on Wednesday was 93.6 million, and today it was 57.1 million shares of this ETF traded today, which is extremely low when we look at the volume rank percentile. It's only 11.5%. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 29, so we're going to say it a different way this time, only 29 days had lower volume than today when it came to trading shares of this ETF. Very low volume compared to what it usually gets. So let me put the floating data box back on and we can be specific about the ETF quote because it's not a stock, the ETF quote. So the SPY opened at $674.84. They had a high of $681.16 and a low of $673.77. And they closed today at $679.91, which is a trading range of $7.39. And we talked about the volume, but I'll mention it again. They traded 57.1 million shares of this ETF today. We moving. I don't know if I feel like we moving fast today or if it's because I messed up really bad at the beginning where I feel like we moving kind of fast, but it's all right. We got this together. Now we can move on to the next part of the show. So now we are going to look at the biggest winners and losers in the S&P 500 today, the individual companies. But first, we're going to look at the loser so we can end the night on a high note. And if you already know, I don't like looking at the winners first. Let me cut the floating data box off now. Let me put this back on the screen because you can't even see what I'm talking about or looking at. So I'm going up here to Market Watch. When I go up to Market Watch, this is how you pull up the S&P 500 watch list. I already have it pulled up and I already have the loser pulled up. So ticker TPL is the biggest loser for today. And they lost 15.68% just today from the previous close. So the previous close was $448.28 on Wednesday. And today they closed at $377.97 right here up under last. So if someone had invested $1,000, they would have lost $156.80. And I'm gonna show you what that looks like. So the $1,000 investment would be the principal times, and I'm gonna turn it into a decimal. So that's 0.1568 equal. So $156.80, we negate it because it's what the person lost from the principal. Add the principal back to it, and it's going to subtract that from it. So your remaining principal from the remaining principal from the $1,000 investment capital would have been $843.20. So we did that. Now let's get some more details about the company. We already have it selected. Let's go over to the Analyze tab. So ticker TPL is in the energy sector. Let me take me off the screen. We're going to look at the company profile. The company's name is Texas Pacific Land Corporation. Here's their website, and the link is also down in the description for your convenience. Let's read a little bit of this description. Texas Pacific Land Corporation engages in the land and resource management and water services and operations businesses. The land and resource management segment manages surface acres of land and oil and gas royalty interests in the Permian Basin. Permian Basin. I hope I pronounced that right. Now, let's go to their website. Here it is. Full screen, zoom in. We are already at 150. I like that. So they got a video playing. So you can go watch that video by clicking on the link down in the description and visiting their website. They sell yourself. Now, some of these websites, like when they don't have much to talk about, like the goods and services are very self-explanatory. Everything that you pretty much gonna click around for gonna be right there on the homepage. So if you notice, they have the stock quote right on the homepage because they don't have a lot to talk about. They even got a video up here because they don't have much to talk about. But I'm still gonna click on the about section. We're gonna browse around a little bit, but we definitely not missing the investor section. Well, at least with the stock quote, they call it a stock snapshot. But let's go to about. So they give you their history and the management team. So I don't see like the purpose, the vision statement, the mission statement like we saw on the other website earlier. I don't see that. They don't have that here. Let's go to, I don't even see careers. Did I miss it? I see management team, board of directors, history, business segments. News and media is it under investments? No. Wow. Contact. Maybe. Get in touch with us. Just call and ask us if you want a job. We don't have a section on the website. Send us a letter or call us. Email us. Ask us for a job. Ask us what we got. It's not even on the website. They are the biggest loser today. I know this ain't the reason, but I don't like it. Let alone, so on some of these websites, we look to go see if they offer benefits, but at least most of them have a real robust. I remember one time we looked at a website where it actually showed the map of the whole. It was a global map showing where they had the jobs and positions located all around the world. That was one of the dopest things I've seen as far as like for open positions. And this website don't even have it at all. They don't even have where you can apply or nothing. What type of positions they have. Anyway, so let's go to the investor section. And we're gonna, it doesn't look like it zoomed us out, but I'm still gonna check it. Be on 150. So let's go over here to stock data. We can get the quote. So here's the chart that they offer on their website. Here's the stock quote information. They don't have any other tools that I usually see on these websites. So we can move on and we can look at the Thinkorswim platform. And see what we can see on the chart. Oh my gosh, that looked nasty to the downside. Ooh, and we've covered this company before, so that's why some technicals on the chart already. Man, that's nasty. Look how aggressive it's falling to the downside. And it went up from this 52. They did a stock split on December 2000. What date is that? Let me zoom in a little bit. Now, when I zoomed in, I'm covering it. This represents a stock split. And they gave you 3 shares for 1 share. So it was a 3-to-1 stock split. That's what that symbol is on the Thinkorswim platform. And if I click it, it'll give you more details if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So that was on December 23rd last year. And what else did I want to see? Just so you'll know what time frame we're looking at the 1 year daily chart. And what I'm looking for, I want to see what the percentage change was from this low on December 16th to this Wix high that 52-week high on February 23rd. So let me zoom in on that section. And it did it again. Remember the thing I showed you earlier? I got to look to see if it's a way you can lock this. I do have keep zoom locked, but for some reason, this bars to the right keep changing. I want to keep it over as far as we can. Anyway, put me back on the screen. Am I blocking that 52-week low? I sort of kind of am. I'm going to drag it over. I can see it. I can see it. So let's use this tool right here. We're going to link. We're going to connect that bottom, the low of that candle to the wick, to the high of that candle. And we're going to look at the percentage change. We're going to see how long it took. This is one of those anomalies or rare events that they say happen in the stock market or rarely ever happen. I'm telling you, almost every time we do a live stream, when we look at a different company, we can see large percentage gains, but you only hear nightmares about a stock falling down, which we do see. So we're going to get over in a minute, but I just want you to see what opportunity was here and how long it took. So from this move on December 16th last year to February 23rd this year, that was a percentage change of 103%. So this stock doubled in value. The stock price doubled in value, more than doubled in value, from that 52-week low to that 52-week high in a matter of 69 days. So if you know, months got 30 days in them. So 3 months would be 90 days. So less than, we can look at it like, so that's 2 months and 10 days. So roughly 2 months, like a little over 2 months, this stock presented an opportunity of over 100% return. So if somebody invested $1,000, looking at that percentage, that 103, they would have got an ROI. They would have had an ROI of $1,032. Let's do the math. Let's do the math. Let me just pull the calculator up and do the math. Clear this out. So it would be 1,000 times 1.032. Yep. I didn't put the 4 on there. I didn't put the 4 on there. But that would have been the percentage gain. It would have been 40 cents if I had put the 4 on there. And the ROI, this would have been the ROI. The principal was the initial investment. So that was $1,000. So their initial investment of $1,000 plus the ROI, their investment would have grown to $2,032 in a matter of a little over 2 months. We just seen it with our own eyes. Now, when I drew the support and resistance zones on the chart, we can see right here that that's almost a month, like a little bit over a month, it just could not get above that zone. Let me zoom in. It just could not, that price could just not stay above that zone. You got wicks that peak out of it barely, but it just could not close above that zone. So looking at this now, when a stock starts to trend sideways, they call it either accumulation or distribution. And I'll explain what the difference is. Accumulation is when the institutional investors, the people that know what they're doing, like the smart money, they call it smart money or institutional investors. During accumulation, that means that they're buying the stock slowly or the ETF slowly. They're building a large position on the accumulation long side. But distribution is when they're selling. They're selling. So they expect the stock to drop or they're trying to get out before the stock drop. So because the stock is aggressively coming down now, it's easy to identify that this was distribution. This is when the institutions was selling it to the weak hands. They were selling it to retail traders or people didn't know no better. And during that time, remember how we talked about buy the rumor, sell the news? They possibly was filling up the news feed with positive news about this company to keep people interested to come buy while they were selling it to them. That's the distribution when the stock was going sideways. Then once they unloaded all of those shares at that price level to people that didn't know no better, boom, stock price fell. Didn't even catch this support zone. It broke right through it and closed below it. Didn't even catch it. It caught a little bit of slowdown here, and this could have been profit taken if people had shorted the stock. So some people don't know that too. You can profit when stocks go down. So this could have been them buying to cover. That's what that's called, buying to cover here. And it was preventing the stock from falling because they were buying the stock they borrowed back. The shares they borrowed, they're buying them back to cover the position. And then after they do that, it resumes the downtrend. And it's headed aggressively down to this 200-day simple moving average. And it's already trading below the 9-day simple moving average. So this day right here was the first day. This is the first day that started that downtrend to the downside. So that was March 26th. So March 26th closed below the 9-day simple moving average, and it never really got back above it. It's just been trading below it ever since that day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days below that 9-day simple moving average. And it's approaching the 200-day simple moving average. And you can look at this volume bar down here. It's insane. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 100%. I just glanced at it. The volume rank percentile is 100%. So let's talk about this. I didn't went crazy with the technical analysis on this one. But just for kicks and giggles, since I did the percentage gain, I want to be fair and do the percentage loss. So let me tell you about this tool I'm using. If you want to see that box, wherever you connect it to first, that's where the box is going to appear. So you notice when I tried to connect it to the high, the box was showing up at the top, and it's still doing it. So I'm gonna have to drag this down so you can see it, because it's not even in the screen. But luckily I know how to use this. So now we can see what the percentage loss was. So from that high, that 52-week high, I got to zoom out so you can see everything. From this 52-week high, you see how they did it again? You see this big space over here? Man, I got to find out how to do that. I'm definitely going to look into that when I get done with this live stream tonight. I want to keep it over to the right so I'm not blocking it. Zoom in. All right. Pull this down. So we can see from this 52-week high down to the low that happened today, that was a 32% loss in a matter of 45 days. So we can see what that was. So that's the percentage loss. So there was an opportunity to lose. There was an opportunity to gain. As long as that price is moving, there's an opportunity there. And this is my first time actually talking about it on the live stream, where you can actually profit when stocks go down. Some people don't even know that. You can profit when they go up, and you can profit when they go down. You can make money either way. So let's go ahead and do the stock quote. Zoom in, cut my floating data box back on. I really went into technical analysis on this one, didn't I? So TPL, the biggest loser for today, opened at $446.99. They had a high of $446.99. They had a low of $370.41, and they closed today at $377.97, which was a trading range of $76.58. And we talked about the volume, but I didn't cover it. Now remember, this is another one of those examples where it may not seem like the number is high, but compared to what that stock usually has for volume, it could be extremely high. So like when we looked at the SPY, their average volume was 80 million shares of that ETF in a trading session. This in particular stock is not an ETF, but it's a stock, and the volume still matters. The average trading volume for this stock is only 400,000. 400,000. I'm rounding it down. So let's just 450,000. That's their average trading volume. But today they had 3 times. Is that 3 times? Yeah, they had 3 times. Yes, they had 3 times that, over 3 times that. So when we look at the volume rank percentile, it's at 100%. No days out of the most recent 252 trading days had higher volume than today. So this was a very significant sell-off here. Very significant, very bearish in this candle. Huge bearish candle. It dropped from, what was the trading range? We just looked at it. I'll put the floating data box back on. It didn't lose $76 today. So I want to be clear. It didn't lose $76 today. But from the high to the low is $76. If I use this tool, I'm not even sure if it'll let me do it. It did. It let me do it. So what I did, I connected the open and the close so I could get we got too many floating things going. We got too many indicators going on right here. There it is. So it lost 15. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the dollar amount. This other thing keep popping up on here. It says 69. It lost $69.20. $69.20 today. I had to read that really fast. But anyway, that's that. Let me remove that drawing. That was weird. I think this is my first time ever doing that on one candle. All right, let's go to the biggest winner. We spent a lot of time on this loser, but I messed up at the beginning of the show anyway. Where we at tonight? Oh, we doing good. We doing good for time-wise. So we're back on the watch list. Let me put me back on the screen. And we're going to click the percentage change. So the winner for today is Brown-Forman. And we covered this company before on the live stream as well. And this ticker, we in for a treat because I'm going to show you some more stuff with Yahoo Finance. Their previous close, they had, I'm jumping all over the place. Hold on. They gained 12.89% today. So if someone had invested $1,000 at the previous close to the closing price for today, they would have an ROI of $128.90. Not going to pull the calculator up this time. Eyeballing it at this point. So the previous close was $26.85, and today they closed at $30.31. Let's select this stock and go over to analyze. Now, here's the crazy thing about this in particular stock. On the Thinkorswim platform, it doesn't, the way their back office system works, it doesn't recognize this / when it comes to pulling up the financial information. It'll work for the charts, but it will not pull up this data here for you. So when you see this / thing, you might have to use a different resource, which is what I'm about to show you now. And then it's going to either be a dot or it's going to be a dash. So we're going to go over to Yahoo Finance so we can get this information, but we can tell that it's in the consumer staples industry. So we go here. I don't even have it pulled up. Let's go here. Yahoo Finance. Yahoo. Go to finance. Full screen this. What was the ticker symbol? So it was BF. Now we're not going to use the / because it's not going to work here. It's going to be hyphen or dash and then B. And there it is right there. Brown-Forman Corporation. Can you see that? We can take that off the screen. That ticker, we don't need that. So here's how we find the website information in the description. On the left-hand side of the screen on Yahoo Finance, after we pulled the ticker up, here's the company name, Brown-Forman Corporation, and we already know they're in the consumer staples sector. We click profile. And when we go to profile, here is their website right here. And they tell you the sector. And here's the industry. And here's the description. So let me read that I'm going to read a little bit of it, not all of it. Brown-Forman Corporation, together with its subsidiaries, manufactures, distills, bottles, imports, exports, markets, and sells a variety of alcohol beverages. We done. Now, let's go ahead and go over to their website. I'm not blown away, but I'm fascinated. That's a good word. I'm fascinated by the fact that we're covering two companies that's dealing with alcoholic beverages tonight. I'm fascinated by this. So you learned two tickers today that deal with alcoholic beverages. What was that, STZ? I probably said the wrong ticker. Yes, STZ, and Brown-Forman is bf-b or /b or .b, which is weird, but that's what they got. So goods and services, they sell alcoholic beverages. Here it go, here it is, here it is. They even have alcohol in some, look like sodas or pops. I don't even know why I said sodas. I'm in Michigan. We say pop up here. Okay, now I'm at the bottom of the website. Let me take me off the screen so you can see what I'm looking at. I'm looking for the about. So they have our brands, commitments. So we're going to look at all three of these. So let's go to about Brown-Forman. Cheers, toast. Spirited family of people and brands. So here's a little bit about their history. Here's their values. I'm reading this. Their priorities, the company priorities and how they go about taking an integrated approach. I mean, that's what it kind of covers our funding of our strength. Okay. So they talk about the number of employees they have, the size of their company on a global scale, how many countries they operate in. This is beautiful. This location right here, I don't know what that is, but that's nice looking. Okay, so that was the about. Let's see our brands. What is that? What did they do? Poke a hole in the barrel? The angle of that stream don't look right. That's what I'm looking at. I'm like, where is that coming from? Oh my goodness. I ain't put me back on the screen. The angle of that stream didn't look right, guys. I'm like, what's going on? Well, trying to figure it out. That's a barrel right there. My throat is dry. I've been fighting through it. So people build brands. What water? Oh, they talking about how they protect the environment or something with the environment. I know the link for this website is down in the description. If I'm moving too fast for you or for something specific you want to look at and click on, do that on your own time. I'm trying to move fast. I'm trying to have this wrapped up by 10. We still got to do the technical analysis. So we did our brands. Let's look at our commitments and see if it's anything different. So here's the explanation of their commitment to who? So it's to their employees, their partners, and to their brands, their commitment of what they want to do. Here's the environment thing again. This is repetitive, it seems like. Here's some more nature pictures dealing with the environment. All right, careers. So remember that other one where it said email us and call us? So here's an opportunity for us to see how different they present their opportunities and careers. So they show you some of the people that they have. And these are in different countries. Japan, Mexico. All right, where you apply them. So here's what they offer to their employees. I'm looking for something specific like benefits. Our candidate experience, what does that mean? So here's the process. That's dope. They letting you know what process you're going to go through when you apply for the company. That's cool. Total rewards. I don't see anything that jumps out at me about they real proud of that environmental thing. They keep mentioning the environment. Here's what we do. Here's their locations. Yeah, I don't see anything about the benefits. All right, but we browsed it. Remember, the link is down in the description for you to look for it on your own time. So now let's go to the investors relations. We're going to look for the stock quote. Sometimes it's real small at the top, but here it is. Stock information, stock quotes. There we go. So notice right here, let me zoom back in. It looked like they zoomed me out. So notice right here, now they're using the dot. Like I told you before, sometimes it's a forward slash, it's a hyphen, or it's a dot. So on Thinkorswim, it was a forward slash. On Yahoo Finance, it was a hyphen. And now on their website, they're using the dot. So now that you know those three different ways to do it, you can switch those out until you find the one that works on whatever tool you use and look this stuff up. So here's the chart they offer. I'm looking for any more tools that they have, but I don't see any more. Stock information, historical, and they do pay dividends. So here's the dividend history and the other tools that they offer on the website. Now let's go to the Thinkorswim platform so we can wrap this up, guys. Let me put this back on the screen. Thinkorswim, we already have them pulled up. Let's go to the charts. Now I drew all over this one. So let me take this to the weekly chart. Yeah. Okay, so this is a 10-year weekly chart that we are looking at right now. And I zoomed out because it was way too much going on in that tight space we were looking at for the 1 year. And everything to the left of the white lines you see, the vertical white lines, like these dashed, that's going to be 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022. So you can tell right here, 2026. So you know we still in that year. So that dotted line is the end of 2026. So that's how you know what section you're looking at. 2025, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20. So this stock has pretty much been downtrending for 1, 2, and this is like the fourth quarter. So if it's the fourth quarter, let's say this is going to be like around late September, early October. It's actually, yep. No, if you look down at the beginning, at the bottom of the screen, this big green candle right here, let me zoom in. This big green candle right here was August 31st of 2020. It's right here. So it's been downtrending pretty much since then. So one year, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for about 5 years, this stock has been coming down. For about 5 years. My voice is cracking. Boy, I would be upset. 5 years. So then when we zoomed out, you can see that it started to trend sideways. So remember earlier in the show, we talked about when it starts to trade sideways, it's either going to be accumulation or distribution. So after coming and this is a wide range, but I'm gonna draw it anyway. This is kind of sideways. This is not what I want us to do. This is kind of sideways for 2 years, kind of. Because the price stayed in this shaded area the majority of that time frame. Would you agree? It's like 2.5 years of staying in that wide time frame. That zone, that price zone between like a little, what's that, like $65? So from like $65 to $75, that's what it was trading at on average. $65 to $75 for 2.5 years. And then it just started downtrending like crazy. in 2023, 2024, and then in mid 2024, it started to trade sideways. It started to trend sideways. So being at the bottom of the downtrend, if it was to recover, this area here would be accumulation. This would be where the institutions and the smart money would be buying it now at a discount compared to where it was up here. So up here is trading for $75, $80, but now down here is trading for $25. So how much of a discount is that? I'm gonna put this line up here. We're gonna put it from there. I'm just averaging it out so I can get this percentage change. So that's a 62% discount compared to what it was in that area. 62% discount, buying the exact same thing as far as like the same company. You buying a share, it was no splits. I don't see any of those symbols that I talked. It's all the way back here. I see a split back here. 1, 2 is hard to see and I'm blocking it. So let me take me off the screen. And I'll zoom in so you can see it. And I just been chatting away tonight, but I want to make sure I'm covering this stuff. Here's a split and here's a split. This is what I had showed you and talked about earlier. We're looking at a 10-year weekly chart. This is in 2016. They had a split on August 15th in 2016, and they had a split February 26th in 2018. You can't see it because I got to pull it over. Here's the 2018. So we know everything to the left is going to be 2018. So that's February 28th, 2018. They did another split there. It's highlighting the dividend because they did a split and a dividend in that week because we're looking at the weekly chart. That's why it's overlapping. But okay, now let's go over to the 1-year weekly chart. So now we're zoomed in. We're looking at days now. We're not looking at weeks. So each one of these candles represent a day. And we're looking at a pretty wide trading range. This is now the red lines you see are going to represent months. It's not going to be perfect on the months, but it's about a month in days. It doesn't start on the 1st or something like that. But these are months. So this is about a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7. So you can count real quick just by using the red lines. But yeah, it fell out of this zone, came down here to this 52-week low at $22.61. So if we use this tool right here, put it at the bottom of that 52-week low to this high of today, and we mouse over that tool, that's 38%. It had a 38% gain in a matter of 22 days. So if somebody had invested $1,000, their ROI would be $381.70 in less than a month. And the more money somebody invests, the larger that return would be. So if somebody had invested $10,000 in 22 days, the ROI would be $3,817. It's real. Once you get used to using round numbers, you can pretty much do this quickly. I'm gonna pull the calculator up just to show you, just to back up what I'm saying. There's $1,000 investment times, and we're gonna use a decimal instead of the percentage. We said it was 38.17. So it's 0.3817. There's the $381.70 right there. And you're just gonna add a 0 to that if you were going to do 10,000. So another way to do that is just to multiply this times 1,000. No, that wouldn't be the way you do that. Let's just do it this way. 10,000 times the 0.3817, and then it'll give you the $3,817. You would have multiplied the 318. You would have multiplied the previous number by 10, not 1,000. So if you divide this by 10, it'll take you back down to the 300. That's how you would have did it. I was using the wrong number. I used too many zeros, but that's it. So now let's talk about the stock quote for this stock today. Let's go to the floating data box. We did the technical analysis. I know it looked like a lot of stuff going on the screen. Let me put me back on the screen. I've been looking at you and I ain't even got me on the screen. So here it is. Brown Foreman opened at $26.53. They had a high of $31.24. They had a low of $26.53, and they closed today at $30.31, which was a trading range of $4.71. And their volume for today was 13.4 million shares of this stock was traded today. And that's extremely high volume for this in particular stock. And I'm going to show you that on the volume rank percentile label right here. Their average volume is 4.5 million shares traded in a trading session. And today they did 13.4 million. Volume rank percentile is 98%. So out of the most recent 252 trading days, only 5 days had more volume than today. And they peaked this zone that we had drew on here not too long ago. And I wish I knew which. Just go back through my live streams. You can see that we actually drew this ahead of time. This zone, these lines, and it came right up to that area just today, but it didn't close above that zone. But it covered all that ground just today. That's crazy. Yeah. Me personally, I think this is accumulation. I think they buying this up for the low. That's what I think the smart money is doing with this in particular stock. I think they're buying it because when I'm looking at this weekly chart, it was trading up here for 2.5 years around $75. And now you can get it, or it was trading at $25. Huge discount compared to where it was. And we still see Corona and Modelo everywhere. So I don't know what's going on. If we thinking, are they going out of business? Why is it, things like that. I don't see the company in trouble from what I'm looking at, but do your own research, do your own homework. Where are we at? I'm trying to figure out where we're going. Here we go. We're going back here. We wrapped everything up. All right. I'm getting my prompter going. You already know. I hope that you learned something and I hope that you earned something. Thank you guys for joining me tonight. If you haven't done so already, make sure you check out the whole life insurance link I have down in the description. And make sure you tune in weekdays following the market trading session at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care and God bless.